So, you find yourself on the UnrealEntGaming channel. How fortunate for you. I, Lord Frieza, will spare your life as long as you subscribe and turn on notifications. Also, don't forget to become a member of UnrealEntGaming's Patreon for tons of exclusive content to early access media and much more. Do it now, or else.
So with our heroes now having to find themselves engaged in their first major battle against one of their first major oppositions within the Demon Realm, the battle against the Tamagamis are now officially underway, as I want to welcome you all to my Dragon Ball Daima anime episode number 8 review. And right off the gate from the very beginning, happy holidays by the way, is that this episode itself is by and large the best episode within Dragon Ball Daima thus far, which I don't really think that anyone is going to argue against, because not for nothing, this was exactly what I was hoping to see within Dragon Ball Daima up until this moment in time, because outside of all of the expositions, outside of our heroes having to go through this Star Wars like journey in order to finally get to Gomah, it was only just before having to essentially do so where they had to come across their first major opposition. And after having to see Goku undergo his battle against Tamagami 3, did it only give me that much more hope for not only to see Toei actually bring back Dragon Ball Super, this time through the form of its new animation, but it was, as I said last week, the battles so far in Dragon Ball Daima, the visuals, the aesthetics, the overall cinematography. I don't think anyone could actually make the argument to say that Dragon Ball Daima doesn't look visually stunning, and I think moreover the battle involving Goku and Tamagami 3 proved that, because not only was Tamagami 3 actually strong enough in forcing Goku into a Super Saiyan, but it was almost as though every single move they tried to make, it was almost as though every single counter that was attempted to be had during this battle looked way more intense than how we originally thought it would be, because I knew that this battle was going to visually look good, but I didn't think that it was going to look as good as it did during this moment in time. So this was by and large, without question, the best battle within Dragon Ball Daima so far, which only gives me more hope to see what's going to happen later on down the road, but to also see Tamagami 3 not be as fodder as I was fearing that he would actually be against Goku, in seeing him actually push Goku into becoming a Super Saiyan, and hell, even to the point of actually seeing Tamagami 3 force Goku's hand in the way he was attacking him, in the way he was using that giant hammer against him. This was all really good. This was all something that I feel as though Dragon Ball Daima needed, because whether or not people want to say, oh well, Dragon Ball isn't mostly made up of fights, actually yes it is, because you can't tell a great story simply with words or simply with exposition if you don't have a nice big battle to kind of follow suit with it. So the only thing that I was really upset about is the fact that this didn't go as long as I really wanted to, because even though at the very end with Tamagami 3 having to submit to Goku, with the way Tamagami 3 actually admitted that Goku was a fair fighter and that Goku was a very resilient person, to even go as far as to suggest that Goku was worthy enough in having to gain the Dragon Ball that he was after, but only after having to undergo and play a certain game with him, was this only classic Toriyama-esque storytelling, which I felt like was really good. But even though the battle itself didn't really go as long as many people perhaps actually wanted it to be, like myself, this only reinforces the idea that once they come across Tamagami number 2, Tamagami number 1, that everything is essentially going to be longer and more drawn out, which I'm really hoping to be the case. But even by the end, with Goku having to kind of, in a way, garner the respect of the Tamagamis, are something that Goku has essentially always been known for in the world of Dragon Ball, which I always thought was a great thing. If anything else, this was my favorite episode. All praise go to Dragon Ball Daima for the overall execution of all of this, because it wasn't only the battle involving Goku and the Tamagami that was good, but we also get to see far more exposition be kind of unraveled, as of course we learn that a new Majin Buu is essentially going to be created, which once again we see how Glorio was on the phone with Arinsu, which I think is really good, because I've said this before, it's the only kind of attribute for the show that's drawing me in, because we know that midway throughout Dragon Ball Daima thus far, Glorio really isn't in it for the goodness of his heart and having to help Goku and friends and and reverting them back to adults, but more or less sinisterly in it for a more devious motive, which I can't wait to see unfold, because we know that Dr. Arinsu and Glorio now kind of see that Goku really isn't just this little brat that you can just toss around and throw Tamagamis at him whenever you so please, but rather Goku is someone who is rather a formidable threat. And now that they're going to be entering into the second demon world, it only allows for me to think that Glorio is kind of wanting to lead everyone into a trap, because I love the fact that Glorio is playing off the idea that he really wants to be viewed as someone that wants to help our heroes. He really wants to be viewed as someone who is a comrade, when in actuality he's just a giant piece of crap. And this was what I wanted to see, because ultimately you don't want to have everybody within the team be a good guy or a goody two-shoes, and the fact that he's not really gives me hope for the future. And even to see how Degusu and Gomah were finally getting some airtime, because we really haven't seen more of them, which I really want to see more of them, because if the entirety of the show is supposed to be centered around this little guy named Gomah who wants to be the Demon King, then throughout the entirety of episodes 1 through 7, how come we haven't seen more from him? So as we now enter into the second demon realm, I'm hoping that we get to see more from Gomah and Degusu, because I really think that that's desperately needed. And hell, even with Gomah, to see Degusu and Gomah actually spot Dr. Arinsu all the way during the time of the Majin Buu arc, to see Dr. Arinsu actually be there following Majin Vegeta's explosion, do I only believe that this ends up creating more of a scenery that paints Dr. Arinsu as being like the be-all end-all baddie for this show, because I've said it from the very beginning that I don't think that Gomah is going to be the one that's going to play or be the big baddie of the show, which I think is a very good thing, because you don't want to make everything super predictable. You don't want to have everything kind of play off where it's very linear. And to see Dr. Arinsu actually end up speaking to a witch, to which they're actually, no pun intended, creating another Majin Buu, does this only end up creating that much more many questions as to what they're going to be planning by using this newly created Buu to their advantage, or hell, even more so by having to add the question of whether or not this newly created Majin that Arinsu and this witch are working on is by and large going to become even more powerful than Majin Buu himself, Super Buu, Buuhan, Kid Buu. These are the questions that I think need to be asked, and I think that by seeing Gomah and Degusu kind of catch on to this only reinforces the idea that we might end up seeing a scenario to which Arinsu is going to be the one that's going to be leading the charge, having to go up against all our heroes with Glorio by her side, which only ends up begging the question on whether or not Goku and company are going to be working alongside Degusu and Gomah to battle against Dr. Arinsu, Glorio, and of course this newly created Buu. But by the end of all of this, when it's all said and done, I want to go ahead and get your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below about what you guys thought about Dragon Ball Daima anime episode number 8, and what I also want to know is where do you guys see all of this going in the foreseeable future, because to me so far, I think that Dragon Ball Daima episode 8 was the better episode so far within its lineup, and I think that is for a very fair reason. We had a good amount of action be shown from our heroes. We got to see more of an exposition lineup to see how Dr. Arinsu is going to be creating some sort of a new Majin-like creature, which I think is very intriguing, even though I'm hoping that it's going to be something different. To actually go as far as to see that, I think is pretty cool. To see more exposition be played out from the traitor known as Glorio was pretty cool. So by the end of all of this, I want to go ahead and get your thoughts and opinions on how you guys felt down in the comment section below, to which again, thank you all so much for watching, everybody, and thank you all so much for your time. To which once more, if you also just so happen to be new to the channel, then I do encourage for you guys to head on over and smash that subscribe button, as well as also turning on all notifications so that way you guys never miss a single video that is posted onto the channel. Tune back in for more, because thus far, although I am a little iffy with Dragon Ball Daima's direction, I'm very excited to see how this is all going to culminate by the very end, because with what it is that I'm truly hoping to see happen, to which I've done a recent video with one of my friends JD on his channel, I will go ahead and leave that link located down in the description box below, to which I went off on a massive rant. I went off on a massive rant on Dragon Ball Daima with its pros and its cons, and it came from a place of truth, because with the way everyone was propping up Dragon Ball Daima so far to be the greatest thing in existence, I don't want to say that Dragon Ball Daima isn't, but it isn't really peak Dragon Ball unless you want to go and really check out peak Dragon Ball, which is OG Dragon Ball. My only gripes with Daima came from its lack of tension with its villains. My gripes with Daima came from essentially its lack of expansion throughout its battles, because everything felt so short. Everything really didn't feel as dire or as desperate or as tension filled as it should have been. And I think that with what we ended up getting for Dragon Ball Daima episode 8, is it only a good thing, and it only reinforces the fact that later on down the road, are we only going to see more more of a tension-filled atmosphere, and even hopefully more of an expansive-like battle scenario take place with either Goku, Vegeta, Piccolo, and Degasu perhaps, Glorio, Gomah, hell, even maybe a fusion or two. It's going to be awesome, but for me so far, I really want to put Dragon Ball Daima Episode 8 above the rest, because this was, to me, by and large, the best episode within all 8 of its lineup episodes so far. But I want to go in ahead and get your thoughts down below. I want to go in ahead and get your rankings down below. Again, happy holidays, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in, to which, as always, tune back in for more. Thank you all so much for your time, and I'll be seeing each and every single one of you down in the comment section below and in the next video. Take it easy, everybody, and have a great day. Peace.
Hello. Did you know that you can stay up to date with the latest Dragon Ball content by simply subscribing to UnrealEntGaming?
Also, don't forget to follow on these social media platforms, you sexy son of a bitch.
Roshi.
Silent Cell, me and the fans are having a moment. That's right. I know what you want. Extra long, thick Dragon Ball content. Quality reviews with flawless editing. Yeah, you'd like that, wouldn't you? You dirty bitch.
Roshi, the fuck?
God damn it, I need them to subscribe, Cell.
And we're demonetized.
Yeah, screw it. Let's cut to the video.